Hi everyone, welcome to Chalchitra Talks. I'm Vani, and this week I want to recommend to you Heidegger and a Hippo Walk Through Those Pearly Gates by Thomas Cathcart and Daniel Klein. Now, before I get into the book, I want to talk to you about Martin Heidegger. Martin Heidegger was a German philosopher, and a lot of people find it difficult to read him, and rightly so, because the language that Heidegger used was rather difficult. वो बहुत सारे jargons use करते थे, and of course because it was about death and life, it was a little depressing as well. He was also a Nazi, and that is why a lot of people are prejudiced against him. But if you keep that fact aside, you will understand why a lot of philosophers still value his contribution to philosophy. And I can't, but I will try to sum up most of the things that Heidegger stood for. And all in all, he said that if we want to live, we have to live for ourselves. And he was one of the people to recognize that we are surrounded by death, or as he liked to call it, the nothing. And this nothing is temporary, but it is so scary that we choose to live in denial and appreciate life as a result. The solution that he offers, therefore, is that all of us must realize that everybody is in a fragile state, and we must learn to appreciate that about each other and the things around us, that everything is temporary. And why must we do that? Because humans need to make decisions that can be existential in nature. So he asked everyone to remove themselves from the chatter that leads to denial, because the way of human beings is different from other animals and things around them. And in this process, he also urged the philosophers of that time to go back to seeking the answer to the age-old question that philosophers had tried to answer in the first place. What is it to be, and what does being a human truly mean? A few years ago, I wanted to start reading philosophy, and I went ahead and bought A Story of Philosophy by Will Durant, which I'm pretty certain a lot of you must have seen on a lot of bookshelves in a lot of households. And I thought that is the perfect place to start. But I was so intimidated by the text that I still have not finished the entire book. I do go to it time and again for reference, but I have not read it in one go. So a friend later gifted me this book, Heidegger and a Hippo, and this made me realize how you can find philosophy in so many things around you. So Thomas Cathcart and Daniel Klein are best friends from their time spent at Harvard School of Philosophy when they were students, and they are 70 plus in age, and throughout the book you'll just feel as if your grandparents are talking to you about life, death, afterlife, and everything in between, with reference to pop culture and jokes. So you talk about Woody Allen, Groucho Marx, the Beatles, and everything that is possible, while understanding what philosophers actually meant throughout the history. They also discuss a lot of schools of philosophy, which is actually a great thing. So you get to see why religion exists in the first place, and why we choose to live in denial, and why some people deal with trauma, life, etc. the way they do. Another reason why I really like this book is because of the cartoons that keep on coming up time and again, and the reference they have to death and existential crisis. So I'm going to share two of my favorite cartoons in this book with you. And the first one is a conversation between a therapist and a guy. So the therapist is telling the guy that, look, making you happy is out of context, but I can give you a compelling narrative for your misery. And the other one is a lady who has just turned 40, and Grim Reaper is visiting her, and he says to her that, happy 40th, I'll take the muscle tone in your upper arms, the girlish timbre of your voice, your amazing tolerance for caffeine, and your ability to digest French fries. The rest of you can stay. And it is so funny because he's telling her all the things that he's going to do to her, and then he just says the rest of you can stay. Now I feel like sharing another passage with you, mostly because this passage was the reason why I ended up reading the entire book cover to cover, time and again. And it went, we are the only creatures who comprehend that we are going to die, and we are also the only creatures who can imagine living forever. It is that combo that drives us crazy. Death scares the hell out of us, and a life that doesn't clearly have a destination except over a cliff seems devoid of meaning. This is undoubtedly why human mortality is intertwined with the fundamental questions of philosophy. Questions like, what is the meaning of life, especially if it is all going to end one day? How should our consciousness of death affect the way we live our lives? Would life have a radically different significance if we lived forever? After a millennium or two, would we be overcome by existential boredom and long for an end to it all? Do we have souls? And if so, do they survive our bodies? What are they made of? Is yours better than mine? Is there another dimension of time that cuts through the cycle of birth and death? Is it possible to live forever by always living in the present moment? Is heaven a place in time and space? If not, where and when is it? And what are the odds of getting it? So these were the kinds of questions that motivated me to read this book. There's another quote that I'm reminded of now. It is by William Saroyana. I think I'm getting the name wrong. And I think you will come across this in the book as well. He said something on these lines. I always knew that everybody is going to die, but I always thought that an exception would be made in my case. And this just proves how much we live in denial. And this is the exact reason why you should pick up this book and read it. So this was my recommendation for this week. I hope you liked it, and I will be back again with another recommendation for you next week.